when Ed Snowden got pulled in for telling the truth about what was going on. Ed Snowden said, according to Ed Snowden, everybody watches porn. The government is spying on you watching porn. Almost everyone's done it. Even really sophisticated people have had to check it out. So what are the non-obvious reasons that pornography is a bad idea? I mean, the obvious ones are obvious. If you run around jerking off to online porn, how are you possibly going to ever work up the motivation, the chutzpah, to really have a decent relationship with a woman? You're not. So that's probably an obvious one. I would say the less obvious reason to me is pornography is an agitating influence. And that kind of childish, wound up, can't control yourself kind of agitation that pornography produces, and the addiction to that, right? Like, you can't stop yourself from. The most useful thing we can say about it is that's the opposite of the psychological state and the psychological posture that you're trying to create in your life. The last thing you want to be is a person who's upset, meaning agitated, right? All worked up and not in control of yourself.
For the last 25 years or more, young men have heard a lot of crazy advice. Almost none of it good, most of it harmful. The trend was always toward greater acceptance of effeminacy. Look around you. How's that working in your world? The simple fact is there are problems only men can solve. That means the world is waiting for you to step up and get your shit together. Your reward is a life of meaning and achievement beyond anything you currently imagine, including wealth, friendships, female attention, respect. There's no currency of greater value. I set off to explore the world when I was 24 years old, and I haven't been off the road since. I've been lucky. I'm a 4-time national champion. I studied medicine with a mentor in the forest of Central America and got hired at top hospitals like Cleveland Clinic. I went to sea with a mentor, built my own boat, and lived on the water for 5 years, all because of mentors. When I needed mechanical skills, I found a mentor. When I became a writer for a major publisher, I hired mentors, selling $40 million in under 3 years. Because mentors give you the ultimate edge, and you're gonna need it. If you're young, your biggest obstacles are confusion, distraction, and inexperience. Fortunately, there are solutions that give you power to move forward with clarity and focus. That's why you need to know about Young Men's Mentoring for the 2020s. Young Men's Mentoring for the 2020s is a one-on-one and group coaching mentorship where you and I and a couple of guys talk about things important to you. I even host live events at my Caribbean headquarters and my jungle hideout in Guatemala, where I lived for 10 years to study ancient healing practices. Each week I have a story and a lesson to share, but you get priority to ask me anything. It could be about family, money, an idea you have for your life or business, women and the dangers of dealing with young women today. Each month you'll hear from an expert who will talk about the fast path to things like financial security, business development, so you can learn and earn from anywhere. This is the stage in your life where you choose whether you're going to be a man or continue on your path to slavery. If you're seeing this message, you can count yourself lucky, but only if you take action. You will not get a better opportunity in life than the one right in front of you right now today. Join Young Men's Mentoring for 1 month for just $49, and I'll see you on the inside.
So I used to be in medicine, and I like teaching people about the kind of medicine that I studied because it's fascinating. It's also very relevant to your health, to your aging, to your life as you're getting older. In ancient medical systems, you have 3 basic metabolic fires going on. One is reproductive, so that's in the lower part of your abdomen. One is digestive, so that's in the middle section of your abdomen. And then the thorax, the upper chest, right, is your cardiovascular, right? All of these areas function constantly. There is metabolic action happening there all the time, right? And at different ages, it changes, right? This is one of the things you have to solve to really get and stay healthy. The reproductive fire is healthy when it is calm and settled deep in the abdomen. If you stir this up, it causes disease. Heat goes up in the body. So when that heat pops out of the lower source, the lower fire, the home of the lower fire in your lower abdomen, well, then it shoots upward, causes mania, causes depression, causes anxiety, causes exhaustion, which leads to depression. It causes a ton of different things that, quite frankly, you don't want to do that to yourself. Like, you don't want to trigger those, right? Those are not signs of healthy activity. You're not going to do well, right? If you're stirred up from this, all of your organs get affected if you stir your body up like this. The only other thing really I think that needs to be said about porn is, is it bad? Is it wrong? Should you be hung up on that? First of all, women do that work. Now, I know the common story, and probably it's very common, right, in reality, is that a ton of women are sort of forced into that because what else can I do, right? I'm from a poor area, I'm from a poor family. I don't have another option. The idea that all of them are coerced against their will is probably not true. A woman enjoys the thrill of being sexy. She loves that she gets looked at and attention, and as you grow, as you age, you come to see that the greater emphasis a woman puts on that, the worse life is when it ends. Not surprisingly. Somebody asked me like what I think of Andrew Tate with respect to, right, there was a discussion going on, like with respect to apparently he made a bunch of money meeting girls and put them on cameras. My thing was, well, it might be a low quality character thing to do, but I don't think it's amoral. I imagine some of those women didn't have better options, and that's why they did what they did. That's why they agreed to it. I don't think anybody, I certainly haven't heard that he coerced anybody. And people also freak out about, well, what about underage? What about, young girls underage having to do this or that? Okay, fair enough. No doubt. That's a reprehensible thing, but people act scandalized, like, well, it turned out so-and-so had sex with a 16-year-old. Well, lots of 16-year-olds are having sex. That's a really naive thing for people to still pretend like that's not happening. The whole sexual revolution, the whole feminist revolution that made that such a priority obviously was bound to have some pitfalls and some real dangerous areas for women to watch out for. And so you see that. And so, my message to young men is it's valuable to know the game that is being played now between men and women. It does change over time. It was one way when I grew up. It has changed. It is continuing to change all the time. But if you just get the big picture right on sort of where's the whole thing at between men and women for the most basic kind of relationships, getting together, having a family, I think it's valuable to understand for millions of years, right? The mythology of the hero and the quest that allowed the hero to win the fair damsel. That mythology is largely, I don't want to say it's dead. My whole point is that it's not dead, that it's really relevant. But that is as much a part of what women protest against with respect to patriarchy, with respect to the unfairness of life, which is nobody's fault. And so a woman is a creature that has to deal with that unfairness, and how she deals with that is a big part of how you will or won't be able to succeed with her. It's important that you have success with women. It's your birthright, first of all, but it's also, nothing so empowers your life or beautifies it, maybe beautifies more, but it's such a cultured thing, right? I hear these statistics like 60% of young men 18 to 25 haven't gotten laid or haven't talked to a woman in a year, or like something insane like this. Is like, what? That can't be true. But I look around and I talk to people and they tell me it is. I can't fathom it myself. So check out my group coaching, Young Men's Mentoring. You can find out and make more progress in your life in 1 year with a good mentor than you can in 10 years on your regular path. Now, if that's not a reason to check it out, then I've made my case. So please, do yourself a favor, click below. I got a free download for you. I put together 10 core competencies all young men should know and put a little effort into getting started on if you haven't. So if you want your life to be what it can be, if you want it to actually turn into the thing that you're imagining, this is the time that you do that. You only get to be a young man for a very, very brief time. Don't let it pass you by. All right? That's enough out of me. As I like to say, Young Men's Mentoring, don't leave home without it.